2, 3.
Real nice. Real nice.
I'm recording on my phone. Oh, he's coming back.
Get in the car. We're going.
Hi, Ethan.
Hey, Nick.
Hi. You wrote a show called Edge of the World?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I actually wrote it with my good friend, Nick Blaemire. You know Nick Blaemire? Edge of the World is a musical about a boy named Ben who is whisked off to live in rural, near isolation in Alaska by his father, where he uses his imagination to cope with his new surroundings, with his loneliness. As he learns more about the circumstances that brought him there, the line between lie and imagination and reality starts to blur. And this is the concept album for that musical.
Well, I'd love to ask you some questions about the show. Not that I don't know all the answers, actually.
Right.
But tell me about how the show began. What was the first song that you wrote?
I wrote 2 songs in the same week, but the first one that I wrote was Rocks and Things. And
Really? It was the first one?
it was the first one that I wrote. I had this other lick that ended up becoming Alaska. I was like, I bet it feels like this for most of the show. And I was like, that's gonna be fun. Like, that's gonna be a fun way to start a show. But I didn't actually really write that song until I wrote Rocks and Things. And one of the perspectives that I was most interested in was, what is it like to be the father who made this happen?
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean to him in this moment?
Norbert freaking Leo Butz, like one of the great singing actors of all time, singing Rocks and Things as if it is his song.
So we learn for hundreds and hundreds of years. Do we know a thing?
You said not, well, I would say, like, how did you balance the way that songs can be pulled in different directions, but wanting to keep the same DNA?
Yeah, I mean, right? Becomes this like detective work that I really love, and it's a thing I like about adaptation work as well, where you're trying to kind of identify the DNA of something and then tease it out. And so what to me was just so interesting was this idea of the worldview that gets passed down from a father to a son. And the way that the son, in this case, who's the protagonist, has to examine the things that he's been taught about the world and decide whether he's going to live by those or whether he's going to go his own way. Talk to me about how long have you been playing guitar?
I started playing guitar, in my memory, I started in 5th grade. Although really recently, somebody showed me a picture of me playing guitar, and maybe I was little, maybe I was just a little 5th grader. But I will say one of the things about it that I've talked to you about a little bit, but you should react like I'm saying it for the first time, is that I was really held back in my guitar playing by my instinct to write my own stuff. But I think it really changed the way that I see the instrument and the way that I think of it as a way to support my expression.
I love all of that. I relate to a lot of it. The part that I don't relate to is coming back to it and getting great at it, because I was listening to mixes yesterday and was like, some of the guitar playing on this is insane. I mean, it's really great, and I don't think that anyone's going to be expecting that. I've always thought about guitar as a means to write my own songs. Like, as you said, once I learned 4 chords, I was like, and not even in 4 keys, like in 1 key, I was like, oh, okay. And it became like scaffolding was the way I always thought about it for the words and for the melodies, which came far easier and didn't take class. I didn't have to go to class for that. I could just, like sing in the shower and be like, oh, is that a thing? Is that new? Is that Yesterday by the Beatles, or is that mine?
You're underselling yourself. You're a good guitarist. You're a musician. You'll send me something where you are distinctly playing the exact same thing that I'm playing, and it sounds totally different. Like,
totally.
The feel is just completely different. I'll come at it from 2 slightly different styles, and I think there are so many moments on this album where like that marriage of styles is really clear and beautiful. It's no secret, it's social media public that Lilli's pregnant.
Yeah, she is.
She goes, hey, so I really am pregnant. And she like stands up and she's like, we were like, this is a song about singing to, you know, your pregnant belly. And we got to have that sort of collaborative moment with her. And speaking to your point about that song being hard to write, like we needed insight. You know, the core of that song is about sort of the fear of the unknown that you're going into, which is what the whole show was about in some ways.
In my mind, I'm still a little girl. So how am I supposed to teach you to live in the world? I've never.
You know, I know how I feel about being in my own stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a really tricky thing, but also like this part was sort of uniquely suited for you. And so I wonder what your journey there was.
Man, Nick, such a good question. And something that we talked about a lot, you and I.
Are we going to have a kid? Like, is this going to be somebody who goes from 13 to 25? Does that mean 2 actors?
When we talked about it, you know, the first step was like, okay, well, actually, as a concept album, this show makes sense being told from a perspective, a singular voice, telling it all the way through, sort of morphing through. And so like for this iteration of the show, single actor playing it, you know, it made a lot of sense and feels really right. And this felt a little bit like this is the opportunity, if no other opportunity for me to play this role.
Right.
Exists.
But I think it always made sense to me. And I feel like I pushed you into it more than you were like, you know, sort of pushing yourself into singing on the album, because it just made sense to me too. It was like, we're seeing this world through your eyes.
But I was raised by
Let me ask you this as like a last question. Like, where would you like people to listen to this album?
Take it outside, sit under a tree, preferably not looking at a street, preferably looking at other trees, but you know, that can be tough depending on where you are at the moment.
Like, if you can't get to nature, you know, hopefully it can be a little bit of it.
Yeah.
You know, just that a tree grows out of your wall for like the, you know, for the 45 minutes that you're listening to the violins and the horns. Look at that tree grow out of your wall.
That wasn't
Was it
there
the whole time?
That wasn't there when we started.
Oh my God, special effects.
Feel like we could fall Alaska. Here we come. Here we come. Here we come.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah, that was great. That felt pretty natural.